Alexis Lambert, and welcome to Food, Faith, and Fortunes. Um, I wanted to share with you one quick thing, and I forgot to put in the title that this is a faith nugget today, or this evening. Um, I this past weekend at church, I received a really uh, good teaching on uh, uh, on how to describe, but also how not to describe the Holy Trinity, and uh, and I have absolutely been guilty of this before. Oh, and just didn't realize how mistaken I was. Because it completely made sense in my little brain. But when you're trying to explain to someone who is a non-believer, or is a uh, who is not a Christian, when you're trying to explain how uh, you have God the Father, but then also Jesus is God, and then also you have the Holy Spirit, who is also God, how you're trying to explain that no, there's not multiple gods. It's one God, and they're all the same God. Well, how does that work? That doesn't make sense. Uh, and I have been one of those people who says in the past, well, imagine water, how you can have liquid water, and you can have solid water, and you can have water that is gas. Well, imagine that God is the same way. And I received teaching this weekend that says that is heretical, because that is um, I'm probably gonna say the name wrong. Modalism, modalism, uh, basically suggesting that God is changeable, a changeable being, simply depending on the environment that God is in, and that the environment is what changes God. And that's not true. The environment, wherever God is, that does not determine who God is or how God is. So that's how it is heresy. That's how it's heretical. And I'm so glad I received that teaching. So then there are other people, and I didn't know that other people tried to explain it this way, but they tried to explain that it's that God is like a three-leaf clover, that you have the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but it's all the same clover, or that you have uh, an egg, and that you have the yolk, and then you have the white, and then you have the shell, but it's all one egg. And the reason that is heretical or heresy is because that teaches partialism, that each person of the Trinity, each person of the Godhead, is only a fraction of God, and that you need all three parts to make up the wholeness of God. And that's not true either. And so I was really, really grateful for this teaching this weekend. And the pastor said a really good way of perhaps trying to think about the Trinity is to perhaps think about it like a very uh, a perfect divine dance, where you have three divine participants. You have 3 divine dancers instead of, normally you have 2 people dancing together. You have 3 people dancing together, and they're all moving perfectly together in this beautifully coordinated, they're all communicating perfectly, moving together perfectly, anticipating each other's moves. They're partners together, all 3 of them, and it's in perfect unison and perfect harmony and perfect coordination divinely. And I thought that that was a really beautiful way of trying to describe it, that there are 3 partners in one dance. They're all 3 separate persons, separate entities, separate people in one dance. I am going to just highlight a couple of lines from the Fire Bible that kind of describe that talk about the Trinity. If you have never, if you don't know what the Fire Bible is, this is the Fire Bible, the ESV version, the English Standard Version, large print because I'm getting older. And the Fire Bible is a Pentecostal type of spirit-filled commentary. That's what this is, the Fire Bible. And I'm going to use a flashlight in here because, again, getting old. But it says, God is triune. And that means he is one God, a single being, who has revealed himself in 3 distinct, not separate, but interrelated and completely unified persons, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We must be careful not to misinterpret this as if the one God has simply revealed himself in 3 different modes or expressions at different times throughout history. Like, for example, some people have taught before that there was the God of the Old Testament, right? And that's God the Father. There's the God of the New Testament, and that's Jesus. And then there's God of now, and that's the Holy Spirit. And that's not accurate. The correct teaching is that all 3 persons of the Godhead exist uniquely at the same time. So I hope that this was beneficial to someone. I hope that someone took something away from this, and that it becomes easy to share with someone. Don't make the same mistake I did in trying to explain it as water, because I see my mistake now in explaining it that way. So I hope everybody has a wonderful night. I hope God gives you dreams and blessings to everyone. Bye.